The Israeli occupation's genocidal actions and rhetoric in the last 12 months haven't just sparked global outrage with human beings, but now maybe even machines. Our team was talking to the latest version of ChatGPT, and it came up with 5 ways the pariah state's behavior has backfired on a global stage. We gave it a simple question: what are the ways that Israel has dug its own grave since October 7th? Here are its answers. Number 1. Alienating global public opinion. While the last remaining European colony in the Middle East has historically enjoyed significant support from Western governments, its actions since October the 7th have eroded sympathy among the global public due to deliberately maximizing civilian casualties and infrastructure damage to break the spirit of resistance, amounting to a genocide, widespread destruction and suffering in Gaza, triggering mass protests in cities worldwide, including traditionally pro-Israel countries, and prompting many human rights organizations to condemn their actions. The once believed narrative of self-defense has now been exposed as a lie more than ever before. Number 2. Growing international political isolation. With its aggressive actions, Israel has isolated itself politically. Nations that were once allies are now openly criticizing its genocidal language and tactics. Due to increasingly critical statements from countries in the global south and even from some European allies, calls for sanctions and boycotts gaining traction, and diplomatic ties strained, with some countries like the UK even reconsidering arms deals or political support. Israel's aggressive behavior has led to a significant shift in global alliances, making it harder to rely upon traditional support. Number 3. Exposing hypocrisy and double standards. Israel's rhetoric around self-defense has been met with accusations of hypocrisy as the international community points out double standards. Due to claiming self-defense while being the cause of decades of illegal occupation and ethnic cleansing that its victims are in fact exercising self-defense against, accusations of war crimes from international bodies, increased attention on the disparity in the treatment of Palestinians versus Israeli citizens, and media outlets and human rights organizations amplifying these contradictions. The fictional narrative of victimhood and self-defense has become much harder to sustain as global scrutiny has intensified. Number 4. Fueling a stronger resistance. Far from quelling resistance, Israel's actions since October 7th have had the opposite effect, intensifying resistance movements within and outside of Palestine due to increasing general support for the Palestinian cause globally, galvanizing resistance movements in neighboring regions and within the pseudo-state itself, and younger generations becoming more vocal and active in advocacy, including young Jews that hate genocide and are now turning against Zionism. Israel's attempts to quash resistance may only be sowing the seeds of a new generation of opposition. Number 5. Undermining its own security long-term. Israel's belligerent behavior may provide short-term military gains, but it has undermined its long-term security by sowing more discord than ever before. Due to increasing anger and hatred among Palestinians, making generations more of enemies of the illegal occupation that would never betray their cause, destabilization in neighboring regions leading to a more insecure environment for the settler colony, increased scrutiny from international bodies leading to louder calls for legal action or sanctions, some heads of states even calling for an armed UN response to the genocide, and diminishing popular support from its main international backer, the US, with the majority of Americans now showing disagreement with the Zionists in polls. Rather than securing its future, Israel's recent actions have been laying the groundwork for a more insecure and more unstable future. In conclusion, in its response to the events of October 7th, the apocalyptic death cult running so-called Israel has been charting a dangerous course. While its military capability remains due to billions in funding from the USA, its actions are alienating allies, strengthening resistance, and compromising its long-term security. As the global community continues to witness Israel's atrocities, the question remains: how much longer can this path be sustained before the consequences become irreversible? There you have it, folks. That was 5 points from AI that's reflected a mood change across the world. The world is watching. It's time to put the shovel down, end the occupation, and dismantle the last remaining racist European settler colony in the Middle East.